Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, I am the CHALL, your YouTube Sporting Network, and today is the first of, hopefully, fingers crossed if you like it, many MLS NEXT Pro reviews. Now, I will do a video basically explaining the MLS NEXT Pro League, but this is all about the game that was in question last night. Orlando City B losing 3-1 to Inter Miami second team. Now, before we get started, make sure you do like, comment, subscribe, click notification bell to never YouTube video. And for now, let's get into this one. Let's start with the starting lineups right at the start of the game. So let's begin with the Orlando City B lineup, the starting lineup for the home team. So in goal you had Grimwis, then you had Freeman, Williams, Forth, Mendes, Desart, Ganera, Taylor, Jan, Tablante and Jack Lynn up front. On the bench, Otero, Loyola, Reed Brown, Bell, Granados, Subachan, Galvin, Hackenberg and Bravo. Now, for Inter Miami 2, you had CJ Dos Santos in goal. In the defence, you had Logan Batiste, Modesto Mendes, Abel Caputo and Harvey Neville. In the midfield, you've got Braxton Najib, David Ruiz and Lawson Sunderland. Up front, you had Romeo BECKHAM, remembering the name, Tyler Bagley and Sean Hundle. And on the bench, Zuluaga, Borgelin, Hardin, Reyes and Valencia. Now remember that, now you see there's two names in there, Harvey Neville and Romeo BECKHAM. Sound familiar, don't they? Now, obviously, one of the big things going into this game, if you look at the top 10 in the Eastern Conference, Inter Miami were 6 points away from that sort of top 4. You had Orlando City B that were 5 points more backward than Inter Miami. And of course, this is a Florida derby, so you know the stakes are going to be high already. So Orlando City B after this game will have played 14 games, Inter Miami 15. But it was very, very crucial for Inter Miami to get the win, especially with, well, with the gap closing up in the promotion spots. So it was very, 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 very clear. So it was very clear that Inter Miami needed to win this game. Now, from the first half, and I think one of the big things that I saw noted from the first half was the ill discipline in the tackles for Inter Miami 2. I think that was one of the big things that I sort of noted from that first half. For me, I think that Inter Miami 2 definitely went in a bit rash in some of their tackles. Orlando did as well, but I think Inter Miami definitely 100% was rash in some of their tackles. For me, I feel like they should have just kept their discipline a bit more. I think Orlando, I think one of the big things to note from that game was that in the first few minutes, Orlando had that hold in the game, that possession hold in the game as well. But then after the goal, after Orlando's goal, which, by the way, it was a decent finish. Don't get me wrong, it was a decent finish. It all came from a ridiculous turnover, a silly turnover, and then came up the pitch, and then Tablante with a good finish. So 1-0 up. But for me, I think ever since the goal, I think Inter Miami just sort of got into the game a bit more. So Orlando leading at the break. But we kind of knew what was coming. If Orlando didn't learn and try and grab the game a bit more, I think Orlando needed to grab the game a bit more. And I think one of the main things they should have taken advantage of was the ill discipline into Miami's tackles. I think they were very ill disciplined, and Orlando, for me, sort of needed to grab that and try and run with that. Obviously, there is a new rule with the league where, English fans, comment down below, English fans, would you like to see this in the Premier League or the EFL? Where basically if you go down, it's not, I think even if it's not a foul, if you go down, you take longer than 15 seconds to get up, then you get, what is it, like sin binned or something like that for a couple of minutes? I'm not too sure exactly, but it's something to do with like being on the floor for more than 15 seconds and you get in trouble for it. So, you know, I think it's a very interesting rule. Would that make our English leagues a bit more fairer? Comment down below. But no, for me, I think that they should have took advantage of the ill discipline, and I think they should have ran with that. But during the second half, just little by little, Orlando's play just seemed to die a slow death. You know, 1-1, 2-1, and then 3-1. It was so clear what needed to happen from an Inter Miami perspective. Keep the game flowing your way. Keep the possession going your way. And then you've got a real chance then of, you know, grabbing the game and running away with it and turning it, not just turning it around, but completely running away with it. So for me, I think that Inter Miami did what they needed to do. I think they did what they were, what they needed to do in the second half, which was do what they were doing in that first half, which was starting to grab the game back from Orlando City. And it was so clear that Orlando really started to lose the game. Ever since when the goals started going in one by one, Orlando lost the game more and more. And I think they started to become more ill-disciplined in their tackles, grabbing a couple of yellow cards. If I was to know one player in particular for Orlando that really stood out in a good way, was Acosta. I think Acosta was all over that pitch. If people saw me tweet about the game, then you'll know. I think for me, Acosta definitely grabbed the game by the scruff of the neck. I think that he was all over the pitch. He was running all over the pitch. He was in every attacking area, trying to get involved in everything. And for me, I think Acosta is one of those players that I think will be on the lookout. I think we'll definitely be looking out for this guy going into future games. Now, for Inter Miami, there's quite a couple you could pick out, you know. There's a couple of good players you can pick out. ROMEO Beckham, for me, was the standout. For me, Beckham was the standout. I think the free kick goal topped it off for me. Well, it wasn't even just before the free kick goal. The free kick goal just topped it off for me. You know, classic Beckham free kick vibes. Just whip it over the wall with power and pace into the back of that net. You know, just what a goal to top off a great game for ROMEO Beckham. I think the goalkeeper, CJ Dos Santos, did very well to keep out what needed to be keeping out. And to be fair, the other keeper, I think Grimwis for Orlando did well as well. Especially that save in the second half. If you watch the game, you'll know that save in the second half. The reactions to stop that and just tip it over was pure class. But no, I think that the equaliser from the penalty spot was good. It was a good taken penalty. Smooth, cool, calm, collected penalty. The foul to bring the penalty was a clear foul in my opinion. I think looking back on it, it was a clear foul. Had his hand all over him, brought him down, penalty, clear penalty for me. The second goal from distance from the substitute Borgelin, wow, did he strike that well? Keeper should have done a lot better at the near post in my opinion. I think he should have noted that a lot sooner. And then the free kick for the third goal just absolutely topped it off. And I think Orlando's been on a very poor run of form now, especially at home. So Orlando will hopefully try and fix that if they can. But for Inter Miami, like I said, they're getting closer and closer to that top four. So this can only be a good win for their momentum, both away and at home. So I think their home form's already good already. So their away form's starting to improve a bit more as well. So I think Inter Miami definitely getting better on the road as well. So I think that they're definitely getting to be hopefully one of the form sides going forward into that top four in the Eastern Conference. So we will see what happens. But that is going to be it for this review, guys. Make sure you do like, comment, subscribe. And for now, I'm the CHALL, your YouTube Sporting Network, and that is full time. I'll see you for another MLS Next Pro review at some point in the future.